too. Perfect. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just some queer people doing some necessary accounting. Do you have any New Year's goals or anything? Or like any like themes you're trying to follow this year?
Yeah, I'm just trying to like work on being grounded more. And not like doing more shadow work than shadow play.
I don't know the difference between shadow play and shadow work. I know shadow work. What's shadow work?
I just made up shadow play. That just means being naughty.
Period. I love being
Being
naughty.
naughty.
Good.
Yeah, being have instead of behaving.
Somebody's got to be a part of the problem, right? I'm gonna pay attention to my service too, and when my service is good, I'll turn my little camera too, so you can see my sweet face.
Okay, cool. Nah, yeah. Yeah, and I've also like the more still you are, so like I don't know if you can like aim the camera in such a way so it picks up less of the stuff going by out the windows or
Gotcha.
something. I'm not sure if like with zoom thing, yeah, but like because less movement will often allow it to be better, but I'm not sure if it's
Good to know.
possible.
No, that makes sense. Let me just. Oh, there we go. Great.
Okay, so let me. I don't have any of that. So what was your bank again?
Chase.
That I thought. And did I
Nice.
get
I don't think we signed you into the bank yet.
okay?
Um,
So yeah, so I'll want to. I mean, if I could like log in as you if you're comfortable with that, and then and not save the passwords, and then we can pull things, and then if you'll get an off code probably.
yeah, that works
So
for
if
me.
you want to in the chat type your username and password,
Hmm.
um
Great. I'll do that
or
right now.
yeah.
Username
Michael, that's
is
being recorded. So I don't know if you want to pause the recording while we're passing the password to. So the way that I
great.
cool. So now that we're in the bank account, um, let's see your setup here. So you've
Yeah, the
got
bottom is
bank
my
account.
personal credit cards. That's not connected to GenderFund. The top is the GenderFund
Okay.
account. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go to that account, and then under more, there should be. Oh, never mind. Sorry. So we'll do this, but I want to. We'll see if what it gives us. Sal CSV
Great.
activity. All
And
transactions. There we
this will just
go.
give us all the transactions so we'll know what we need to do accounting for.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. I know I'll create your tracker for you. And so like one of the things that I may have mentioned is that it's a good idea to always create your Google Sheet before you and then import a CSV download into it. Because if you just like upload the CSV to Google Docs, it's gonna create an exe file.
Oh no.
So which is not a Google Doc file. And so then every time you open it, it'll create a new Google Doc file format and therefore not save your like history over.
Got it. That makes
So
sense.
yeah, it doesn't, but I'm glad that you follow.
Good to know. So if we're ever doing it, we open a Google Sheet, then upload the CSV.
Yeah, import it in.
Uh,
So
import. Okay.
you go to file and then you go to import. And then, oh, here, let me cancel. So you go to file, import, and then
Uh-huh.
there's my drive shared with me recent, uploads if it's
Upload.
downloaded onto your computer. I
Perfect.
browse, instead of dragging it over. And then you'll get options for replacing the spreadsheet. But like when you're gonna be doing this going forward, you're gonna be grabbing your data, your like latest transaction history
Uh-huh.
regularly and inputting it into the same document. So you don't want to replace the spreadsheet. You want to insert a new sheet
Got it.
every time. And then um this will be the only time that we should have to create like the new like headers. And so I usually create my tracker headers, like, let me get an example. Open, oh, back. My example,
That,
people over
everything
here.
you've explained so far makes sense.
Cool. Let's just do, Hannah says I can do anything I want. I already know that, so
Thank
just use
God
them
for
as,
Hannah.
I love Hannah. Hannah Banana.
Hannah Banana.
So this is what theirs looks like, and theirs is a PNC, right?
Got it.
And so like each time I'll like import the thing to, oh, I gotta
Ah,
I gotta do this over too.
oh, cool, cool,
Copy
cool.
to existing spreadsheet, recents, untitled. I,
Perfect.
and
Okay,
so
great.
that'll be over there. But so the first time I did this, I imported, and then I kind of created these headers based on the CSV that's actually downloaded from PNC. So that, and I keep it in the same order and I keep it really easy so that you don't have to like fiddle with the order, each time.
Perfect.
There's very little formatting. You can just copy paste over the new stuff after you make sure it's in like so this, as all of them, it's in reverse chronological order. So
Got
there are
it.
a couple steps to this.
Hmm.
So the first step, I usually don't format it over here this way. I usually will like just take the data over without formatting it for like like font type size, all of that shit, because when I have a created one, I can then do the paintbrush on the last, sort of like formatted row and then drag it down the new stuff. And so that's the
Hmm.
quickest way to format things. So this is a little bit different for, I have to format it for the first time, is what I'm trying to say.
That makes
Um,
sense.
I like robot font, so you can change it later, but right now it's my baby. So
No, I'm a big fan of robot font too. I feel like it's easier to read than anything
it
else.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That
So
makes
then
sense.
I clean up Control Z, Control Z. So
Control
like
Z.
that, yeah, that one's gonna be wide.
Yeah, because
I
this is
like
our
the date.
description.
Yeah. So for
Okay.
the date, I mean, the format that I generally pick is this guy.
Got it.
Let's see. I
This
don't
is
know
perfect
why.
because this is so you're walking me basically through what I'm going to do every single month. I'm going to download it from the bank account. I'm going to drop it in here. I'm going to make a new tab, and that'll be January 24th and February 24th.
No,
So,
yeah, this is a little different. So you're not going to be doing all of that, and I'll show you
okay.
a test case. Like, so I'm setting it up for the first time right now. So you're watching me. I'm like do it like the very first time, which so this exact process won't need to be redone. But once I have
Yeah.
it created, I'll import the data and I'll pretend. So I'll do a little demo of like your actual steps.
Okay,
So
great.
yeah,
I love playing
uh,
pretend.
yeah. So
That makes sense
format,
because right now you're doing all the setting up of like how it's going to be formatted, what are the headers, etc.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. So when it's negative, it has it in parentheses. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
The
why it's
balance.
financial.
Hmm. Okay.
And it also doesn't include the dollar sign, which that means basically that means that I can just straight copy paste this into like my email if I'm looking for a number. Whereas if like it's in
Oh,
accounting, then it'll take over the dollar sign and it'll be like dollar sign space this. And when I search like that, often I won't get any results for anything, even if there is an actual related email. So that's the reason
good.
why. And also like if I want to copy paste this directly from the spreadsheet into QuickBooks, I don't have to then delete out the dollar signs. We know this is damn dollars. We don't have to affirm that every damn time, you know?
Great. That's really smart, actually.
So that's why I do that. Of course, then you're left with like the chore of having to like take out a parentheses. And sometimes like I like to do this, there's one more format, conditional formatting, apply to this range if the cell is greater than. Is less than 0.
Oh, cool. You're a spreadsheet magician right now.
Done. And that
Oh,
way it'll
cool.
work out. Yeah. So that way it, oh shit. Format. Why it did that. Hmm. Wow. Okay, that's perfect.
Perfect.
And that way it'll also it's just a little cleaner. It's a common accounting thing. I also freeze the top. That way we
Wow.
can scroll. And especially also like when you freeze things, that'll help because like one of the tricks that I'm gonna do. So like this is in reverse chronological order, right?
Yep.
And one thing that you can't do in order to get this into chronological order is to sort your thing A to Z, because then you'll notice that what happens is that it is out of order generally for this. See, now this is where it stops. Like sometimes it won't keep it in the same order here if there's multiple transaction lines, for the date.
Yeah. That
So the
makes
way that I
sense.
make sure that it's always in the exact opposite order of whatever that it came out as. Well, first, number one, I chop off the end of here. That way we don't get lost in the sauce as we're scrolling through.
Yep. That's
It
important.
has a hard bottom. And then for the sort column, I just put in an exclamation point because it's the very first character and you need something up there. You need a character up there basically. 2,
Uh-huh.
3. And once you have 3, 3 is the lowest number that you can have to be able to drag down this blue dot so that it gets,
Auto populates.
yeah,
Oh,
because
that's
you
so
need at least,
smart.
yeah, so you need at least 3 numbers to continue a thing. If I have just 1, 2, I don't, maybe it's different for this, but before it wouldn't. Oh, I guess you need 2 now.
Okay.
But
Great.
back in my day, you
In
needed
my
3.
day.
And back in my day, when good old desktop Excel, back when computers sounded like they were talking to robots trying to go online.
Oh my
You thought you
God.
were breaking your whole damn house.
The dial-up sound. Yeah, I know it.
Oh my god, that sound is lower. So bad.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
all
absolutely.
recorded.
Good. Wait,
Yeah, so I
we're
do
doing
the number.
interpretive art.
Ah,
We're making interpretive art. That's us making
we
the
are.
dial-up sound. Yeah.
Indeed we are, yes. Yes. So then I just Z to A that after, so now it's in the correct order. And
Perfect.
this will actually, I think you're only going to be like doing your bookkeeping for the new year, right? So I think that what we're
Yeah.
going to do is keep 2023 data here, just as so you have like your former transactions just as a list. We're not expecting you to
Yep.
track them off this. And going forward, you'll have a tab for each month, and it'll be 01 Jan 24. I like to name it, and then it'd be 02 Feb 24 03 March 24 MAR. I'll show you.
Got it.
And
First
it's
three
like,
letters of the month, but the number of the month and the year.
yeah, it looks
Gotcha.
like that. This is because, and the reason why you do it that way is because in a list it'll sort chronologically. Well, and then you only need like the 3-letter abbreviation for the month that corresponds to that, and then the 2-digit
Perfect.
year. It's just a accounting thing.
No, that totally makes sense.
That's good for folder trees. It's good for tabbing. It's concise. It's always the same. People understand it.
That's what we're looking
People
for.
understand it.
People
Okay, so
understand.
And so like once you have this, you don't need these numbers anymore, so you can burn them. You don't have to, you won't be burning them. When you make it, you'll just be like kind of cutting the stuff below it and pasting it over, which
Mhm.
I'll show you in a minute. But we'll also need a GFP notes.
Great.
Uh, and this will be, and I usually use like a different, oops, Control Z. Um, that's my color. You
Mm.
can make it your different color,
Giving
but
lavender, a little queer.
yeah, well, that's my like header. And then when it's something is done, it is highlighted pale lavender. So this is
You're
always the
speaking my language.
same.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So like highlighted yellow means that there's a query, that's an open progress thing. Highlighted
Mm.
orange means there's like a variance or an error, that's bad news bears. Line highlighted lavender means everything's done and it's reconciled. I've got the backup in the folders. It's been entered into QuickBooks and it's been reconciled in QuickBooks.
Got it.
Blue is an item's fully processed, but there's no additional backup. The statement is sufficient, and there's only a few items for which the bank statement is sufficient. Um, Almost nearly everything requires third-party backup of some
Got
kind
it.
or a missing form if not available. The only thing that your bank statement works for are your bank fees charged by the bank. So your monthly statement fee and a pre-note. So say like you sign up for Square and they take 3 cents from your account, they take 1 cent from your account and they give you 4 cents back. Sort of an account verification pre-note is what it's called.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I've seen those.
yes. Yes, so those your bank statement is sufficient for.
Okay.
Also any international posting fees. So say you spend your money on your credit card in Mexico for business related purposes, and then there's like a charge for like 13 cents that you see. It'll say like international posting fee. Um, oh no, pulling on my beard hairs. I just got a hair splinter. I'm sorry.
No.
Do I have any tweezers? Obviously. I'll be right back.
Yeah, take your time. No stress.
Let's see. I generally use like one of these colors.
Hmm. Oh, cute.
Doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want later or now, but now let's do this bold as well, just in case they're one. That's useless AF.
Yeah, what?
That's a useless column. Oh,
Okay.
well, I guess you are doing actual checks, but the check number is there. So, just for like keeping it sort of concise, you can burn this column if you want.
Got it.
Like the check number will be there anyway,
Great.
which means that when you download it, I'll show you because I'll use your download as an example, for January stuff. So actually, I'm
Hmm.
gonna chop off January here.
Chop it off.
So it's like real.
It's real.
So it's
It's so
real.
funny because like accounting has scared me for so long, Lee, but like you talking me through and walking me through this process has made me feel so empowered. And I believe
Oh,
in myself and I know I can do this. And I know that you're on my side too, and that I can like hit you up if I have any questions. But that's just a piece of gratitude. But it's so funny that I'm here now in 2024 actually doing accounting, the thing that I've been afraid of for so long.
that's funny. It's not so bad once it's like actually it's mind numbing. Most of bookkeeping is just simple and mind numbing, but there's also like bookkeeping has its own logic. And so like it doesn't always, until you like are familiar, like really familiar with accounting, like it is illogical. So you just kind of have to like remember the rules. But
Yeah,
once
yeah,
you like know it and have like been doing it for a long time, then things sort of like become logical to you.
totally. And
I
Neil
love,
is smiling at me across the car right now because he loves accounting. And
yeah.
you're like he loves following rules too. So he's just like, this is a great time.
Yeah, I am very like I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like a juxtaposition. I'm like very rule adverse while also being rule adherent.
I am also an anarchist. So.
Yes, I'm an anarcho-syndicalist actually.
Okay. We love to see it.
And we laughed and we laughed.
And we love to
Okay.
love.
Oh.
Great.
I
God,
think
that's
that also, like, we've got these details over here which tell you if it's a debit or a credit. Oh, but it also says like a service fee reversal, refund.
Yeah, that was when we were trying
That's
to get our
not like
credit card
super
shipped to us.
useful. Yeah. I think that you could also burn this column.
Okay. Got it. That's pretty
And
simple now.
yeah, and that's the goal too, to have it be kind of simple.
Great. Webbo?
I do have that remembered. Remember, oh,
The user ID shouldn't be genderfuck.org. If it's your email, it's genderphucked@gmail.com.
right, but it's like, why? I should have a memory.
Yeah. What's going on? Let me know if you need me to drop the thing again, but
I'm
remember.
good, because I
Yeah,
have the, it should be screened for, through this.
No, that's interesting. That's not the email, but maybe it has the password still memorized.
Can't find anybody with,
I think it might be, you might need to change the email to the genderfuck
oh,
Gmail, because it's the genderfuck.org. It
you're
should be
right,
genderphfucked@gmail.com.
yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's it.
And then I wonder if that, password does work though. Oh, that's
Should be,
just a
and it's
randomly generated.
let me look at ours because I have it. I should be able to pull it up.
So,
Did the password you have saved work?
no, that was a random password. Do you wanna maybe, pass it via chat?
Yeah, one sec. I'm pulling it up on our login page right now. Into it. Oh yeah, I got it. Chat.
Into, except we're not. We hate
Yeah,
Google.
we used one of the like Google generated passwords on it, so that should be it.
Oh, we
I just
did,
Yeah, I just passed it in the chat.
should chat.
Chat.
That's not what I had, so.
Great. Making some updated passwords.
Hi,
Is it fighting us?
chat go.
Oh yeah, there's so much going on.
Copy. It's not,
Oh, that's not helpful. Okay, one sec. Let me. Perfect.
like, I don't even know why I came here anymore. Oh yeah, I know. What was I even doing here?
We came.
Yeah,
We're
I didn't
doing
tell
our
you why we're
first.
coming here. I didn't
Okay.
even tell you why we're coming here, actually.
I don't
Even that's
even know.
Yeah, okay, good. I wanted to make sure that I added all the types of payment methods. So like on times where like it says paid by Zelle, you've got a Zelle. So you've got like often like for most credits, you'll enter those in as like the type of transaction will be like a credit. Oh,
Got it?
actually, I guess credit card for a payment method, that's good. Let's add a new one. Cash, Cash App, check, debit. We should add ACH credit. Because that'll be
What does ACH stand for?
automatic clearinghouse.
Yeah, period.
Pulled that right out of my ass.
My gosh. As you should.
I spent enough time in the fucking banking industry, okay? I've moved
Correct.
billions of dollars on the back ends of JVM for the third party hedge fund administration firms. Like,
They owe you reparations. Pay trans people now.
maybe not me as a white people, but definitely somebody.
Yeah, definitely someone.
Definitely somebody. For sure. Need to like have a lot of info. Looks like that's about the useful info. Amounts. Perfecto. So this is just the 2023. Now, Control C. Delete. Now the way that I create a new tab at the end of each month is
Uh-huh.
that I duplicate this.
Okay.
I bump it over so that the newest tab is always to the left, because when you open up a Google Doc, it opens with this tab showing. So I make that always the most recent
Got it.
at the new one. And then I usually I leave the first row so that I have that formatting, and then I
Okay.
delete. And then I usually I won't leave all these usually it's less, but I'll chop off most of the lines. I'll just leave a few lines free, because it doesn't matter how many are below there. However many you have for your CSV, it's gonna if I only leave usually if to imply that a month is not done yet, I will leave 3 rows underneath the latest date,
Okay. That's
which you
clear.
can see. Like when I go over here, I'm pretty sure that. Yep. So the 28th, I'm not sure if that's the last transaction for that time period or not, but I left 3 rows below it because I gathered this data on the 28th.
Got
And
it.
that sort of implies that there might be, more activity. And so when it is the last transaction of the month going backwards, I always chop it off and see, most of your months should be all purple, right?
Yep.
With the blue line for the service charge, because that's, according to our little color scheme, or you can update that for your usage.
Got
Things
it.
that I kind of use this manila kind of soft yellow for things. The yellow, like that bright yellow, that highlight is usually the full line. There's something wrong, as it's being dealt with like this. But if
Yep.
something is kind of important and I want to call it out for the audit trail, or there's some change that happened or some agreement between people, I want to kind of let that be visible and kind of call it out. So the rest of this line is purple right now because it's all been processed and it's all finalized, but we might need to remember that in the future, or I've highlighted so it's easy to find later.
Totally. That feels clear.
I also when I am sorry, when I'm processing, I don't delete some of that data, some of that history of us talking to each other, especially if
Mm.
you have people working on a process, but it takes up a lot of space to leave all of those exposed, right? So instead of
Yeah.
deleting that, just have that line and sort of losing that good info, I will just force all of the row heights, resize row to 21, which is the automatic one. And so that just looks
Oh,
like it has that one. And if you kind of click on it, then it'll show the rest, right?
got it. Okay. I didn't know you could do
You
that.
can
That's so
see that.
cool. You're literally educating me right now.
So yeah, you can see most of all of these have something underneath there. That one doesn't. That one's a simple processing item. That one there was no conversation for, so I didn't need it. But a lot of these will have some conversation underneath them.
Perfect. That makes sense.
And so you can do that too, and then sort of like when it's done, it looks very clean. And there shouldn't really be like sometimes they'll be like an orange, but like see how this was like it's just so glaring. So like sometimes I'll change it to the soft yellow, so like it doesn't bother
Yeah,
me
yeah.
when I go back for, and so it doesn't like stand out as a naughty, like it registers right away as just a retained note.
Yep. That makes sense.
And sometimes I'll hide the balance column as I'm working through, especially if like it's kind of when I was working with a smaller computer, I didn't have real estate as I do now. So I was like kind of fighting for room. So I would hide the
Yeah.
balance column after like especially after month is over and I verified that the balances are like tying out. But the reason why I wouldn't disinclude it from the reason why we keep it here is because often like while you're working with a spreadsheet, like it's really easy to delete something and not sort of like not realize it happened. Especially
Mhm.
like an entire row. Right. So like if you don't have that balance line there, it's really hard to tell like if things aren't matching out and like there's a variance and things aren't tying to your QuickBooks. One of the first tests that I do is make sure that I haven't dropped a line here. If I can't figure it
Ah,
right away. And the way that I
okay.
would do that is I would quickly like just insert a column to the left here. And I would go into the second line down and I would say
Mhm.
this should equal this number. If they're split in two different columns, I would say minus the minus the withdrawal and then plus the deposit, enter it, and usually like let it autofill and pull it down and just make sure that it matches. If the last number matches, then it's usually good. So you
Okay.
can like down and then just make sure that. And then once you're like, okay, well, that's not the problem, then you just delete that out of the way.
Totally. That's cool. That's a really cool, like, quick check just to make sure it's all
Yeah.
lined up.
And so that's why like I might hide it when I don't want to look at it, but I wouldn't delete it out because it's a good tool for finding variances.
Period. That's super helpful to know.
Yeah, lessons everywhere. All right, so now that we've got this line, right? I kept this one populated because it likes to because it's harder to I need something to paintbrush down, basically, because it's gonna
Got it.
as I copied it over, it will have retained some of my like formatting, but like sometimes it doesn't retain all of it. Especially like sometimes like
Like
see it
conditional
did retain it
formatting.
that time, but not always. Yeah, the
Okay.
conditional formatting, yeah.
That makes
So I
sense.
just keep that last one, and especially because I'm gonna copy paste over from CSV, right? So that format will replace that format that I had here. So then I'll have to go back over and it's just messier to paintbrush from this tab and then apply over here. I like having it right there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
anyway, that's my method. So now we're pretending like we just got this chase CSV, like this has existed, and we're like, oh well, I need to get January stuff. So now we've just copied this over. Like this is something that you will do at the beginning of each month, right?
Yep.
Or like during the month, you'll have some data, so you don't have to worry about like carrying. Like you'll have your paintbrush ability. So you'll go to File after you download the CSV to your desktop. You're going to import, and then it's over and upload and browse and grab it. And remember, and it's on automatically create a new spreadsheet, which is good in that it stops you from accidentally overwriting it too easily. Because that's
Yeah.
the main, like, cause like overwriting is like like possibly a bigger bitch. Like if you haven't noticed it, like maybe you're on a new tab, um, it can like maybe you can't undo. You should be able to undo, but there might be some reason why you can't. But
Totally.
of course, that leaves you with the other problem of accidentally creating new spreadsheets regularly, like I maybe perhaps do, and then having to clean up your drive for extra stupid like things that you don't actually use.
Totally. Totally.
Insert new sheet is what we're looking for every time. I really wish you could like preset your like I wish you could have unique presets, but it won't let you fucking do that.
No, for
Um,
sure.
so it automatically puts it all the way to the right. I usually drag it all the way to the left, just because want it next to the tab that I'm, going between. That's just my
Yep.
method. So then
Absolutely.
I figure out, so then I go to my tab of the last populated. I look at the last date and the last amount. I go down here, and so it was 1229 for 1K. I find 1228. That's weird.
What's happening?
I don't know. Oh,
That's our
22.
29, 22. So that was a year ago.
Yeah.
And that's 12 to 12. That's a lot. Um,
Oh, so that was 2023 through that. Oh, that's
yeah.
fine. But so like anyway, it was 12, 28, 23 should have been the last thing. So here, Control C. There, now our
Yeah.
pretend example is correct.
Yay, love a pretend example.
Okay, so 12, 28, negative 20, that's right here. So I find it, and then I usually click back just one more time to make sure that I did remember it correct. And then I'm hitting Shift Command, but on the Windows, it would be Shift Control Shift, and then my down arrow. And I had it, you hit it once. Oh, I should. Nope. Command top. So let me show you one more time. So I hit the number 8 instead of like just this because I want to chop everything. So you make sure you grab the whole row, right? And then if you're holding Control Shift and you press your down arrow one time, it's gonna select to the last populated row, and then you
Oh,
hit
cool.
one more time, and it'll go to the bottom of the empties or to the next populated row. So I'll
Wow.
I'll hit my Command Shift and then I'll go down arrow real quick. And then
Look at all.
I usually very carefully scroll all the way to the back up because I'm anal retentive as fuck and I want to make sure that I'm not deleting another one just one more time for posterity. And then left or right click, sorry, and burn that shit. And now you're
Burn
left
it.
with only new transactions, right? And so now at
Yay.
this point, this is the point where I usually do my exclamation point. 1, 2. Well, now I don't have to do 3, but I wonder if I can ever break that habit. And then I put that exclamation point for a reason is because if I do the Z to A, it'll drop my the header tab. That's why it's populated. So exclamation point will always force that to stay at the top while it
Great.
changes the order of everything else. And just in case they're next to each other on whatever your things, mine are it's just my only option right there is sort sheet. But on some other platforms, it might have a sort column very close to the sort sheet. So make sure you're sorting your sheet and not just your column. Otherwise, it'll change the order of this column while leaving everything else the same. And
Which
you
would
do
not be
that too many
helpful.
times, and you have to burn your whole workbook and start over again because it can be
Oh,
really hard to do.
that make me cry.
Yeah, it made me cry in the past too, my friend.
My God. Period.
For practical reasons. I had to
Absolutely.
clean it up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there, now
I
we've
know.
got our data in the right order, and notice that I didn't do any form. I didn't even change to Roboto, which is so hard for me not to do. And now
Yeah.
I start at the just underneath the details, I grab all of the new information. Oh, but we've got one more thing. I'm sorry. I totally forgot that we burned some things. So
One
you
more
have an
thing.
extra step. Yeah, well, 2 more things. You want to burn the type because you're not using it.
Yep.
So it lets you remember you either have to delete the columns or you have to like first grab this stuff and then grab the next one. So you would, instead of deleting that stuff, you might go over here, Control V, and then your next column is just the balance. So then just Control X. And I like to Control C. I like to Control Exit. That way, when I come back and look with my ojos, I can verify that yes, I did grab everything. It is empty. Therefore, I didn't miss one.
That makes sense. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
like,
I love a good
get
X. Back and be like, did I get it all? And you're like, I got it.
yeah. Did I get it all? Did I get it all? Did I get it all? Did I get 100 times? And then you're an accountant.
I see it. It's the process. It's the anal retentive.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it.
Kind of as fuck, bro. Like
Let's
you just need
go.
buckets of Adderall or OCD.
Period.
Oh.
Neil's a nurse. We'll figure it out.
Yes. So now at this point, after I verified, got everything that I need out of this page, I burn it.
Great.
Burn that bitch.
Burn that bitch. Burn her down.
Oh, I just duplicated it instead of burning it. They're right next to each other. But it's better to have an accidental double than it is to have something that you can't reclaim.
You can't
So
unkill your
now one
baby.
of the other things that I do, because this isn't the end of the month, obviously. First, I add my 3 rows so that I don't forget, and so I know that there's something more to do here. It's just a nice reminder. And now
Great.
I grab my paintbrush or paint roller now, and I drag it all the way down.
Perf. Oh, hell
It
yeah.
is perfect. Then I delete that last row,
Love.
and now
We did it.
it's perfect. And so next time you'll come in, you'll download that CSV to the new tab. You'll drag your tab over. You'll delete all of the data that you already have, plus all the empty rows. And then you'll either cut out and paste over just the information that you want. Or if you'd like to just cut and paste one time, you could delete that column, and then cut paste. I tend to like the way that I showed you a little bit better. It's a little harder to accidentally delete something and then not get it over.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
So it's a little more airproof. And because you duplicated that tab, you don't have to worry about like freezing that. Once you've got like like 50 more rows down here, it'll scroll for you. It's already frozen.
Perfect.
So your formatting it will be like no work going forward until you want to reformat for some reason.
Great.
Careful if you like when you do that, like that's so long that it's going to be off screen and it's going to be hard for you to resize that.
Yeah.
Control Z your way out of that mess, or if you don't remember to Control Z out of it, remember that you can always select an entire column, force the column size. You can start with like 25. You don't know how big things are, and then pull it to where you need it.
Perfect. That's good to know. I
Um,
didn't. You've taught me a lot of things about Google Sheets that I did not know, and I use this a ton for work.
I mean, there's a million things I don't know too. It's but it's about learning the things that make your life easier.
Exactly.
There's also another thing, because there's so much data and these are so long, I don't really recommend doing it. But you can, you know that there's like either cut it off, which is what we like when there's too much data and we don't care really what's over there. We can always
Mhm.
click on it to view it. But there's also wrapping so that we can have it all
Oh
visible
yeah.
and your
Okay.
lines are real chunky. Another thing that I fucking hate, honestly, I'm not gonna, I fucking hate it about Google Sheets is that it always weights everything to the bottom. I'm sorry, but it should be formatted so that alignment is at the top. That I'll die on that hill,
Oh, that looks so much better, honestly.
right? I'll
It's
fucking
easier to
die on
read
that
because
hill.
I can like keep it too, because everything is that's filled is at the top anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why they think the other way is better, but it's clearly not. But you don't even notice
Clearly.
until you go. Uh, or the other one, so that would be like that would go over if there was nothing here. So if that, it would just keep running over, right?
Yeah.
So for it to actually be clipped, which that's clipped. So this is it over it like it'll like go over if there's empty. This is the wrap, and then this like hard ends it at the end of the column.
Got it.
I like it clipped.
Hello. Clip,
Okie dokie
clip.
artichoke.
Great.
So now what we've got now we're ready to track. So we haven't even started working yet. This is just I've clocked on. I need to gather my transactions. Now I've got my transactions. Now I'm ready to start working.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to being an accountant. Actually, you're it's like always like that. Okay, well, I didn't really actually start working yet. I've still gotta like track all these things and then I can actually enter them. Oh,
Yeah. We're at
every
step
time I do
14 and then we're
anything.
like, okay, now the work
Yeah.
begins.
Yeah. Well, but now I gotta reconcile it all in QuickBooks though.
Yeah, true, true. The QuickBooks too.
Yeah. So one thing that another thing that I wanted to tell you, I don't think we went through too many backup packet examples. Just a few really simple ones. So like you I wanted to like reiterate sort of the fact that there are often many more pieces to a full audit proof backup document than people might think. A lot of people want to stop at like, so like the check that they write. They'll be like, well, that's the backup. That's, you know, the check that was written. It's got everything on it, except it doesn't really contain an itemized list of things that were purchased. It's not external, right? It's kind of like just using your bank statement as backup at the end of the day. That doesn't cover it.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
the
that makes
receipt,
sense.
right? So you need the invoice from the vendor, or you need, if you don't have like your own invoices, if people are invoicing you, let me go to one of my other folks that I think I can show you their, I can show you the template that I've created for them, at least,
Great. Okay.
their financial data, but I can show you their template. So if you are like paying folks for things, like maybe like stipends to people that, you know, are doing something for you that it's not necessarily a job, like, you know, a DJ is a contractor and they should be able to provide you with an invoice because they do DJ services. But like, say you were the Chicago Torture Justice Memorial Foundation and you were paying a survivor to you know, help lead a workshop or to share their story in an interview. They don't do that for a living, right? So that you shouldn't, there shouldn't be an expectation, and there isn't like a business or like an industry expectation for them to provide you with an invoice for that. So you would provide, so it's something that you would actually create in-house. It would be an acknowledgement of payment form, which is
Totally.
similar. It's kind of like, you know, if you go to a store, you need to have a receipt from them. If they don't provide you with a receipt, then you create a form called a missing receipt form. For all intents
Yeah.
and purposes, it looks exactly like acknowledgement of payment, except that an acknowledgement of payment forms are good and acceptable and happen, right? And those are not considered bad for your audit trail. Missing receipt forms are also fine as long as they're a very small portion of your backup in total. Like if
Totally.
1% of your backup is missing receipt forms, okay, it happens. That's why there's a form for that. But if like 90% of your backup is missing receipt forms, that indicates either fraud outright or just fraud of negligence. You know, they'll call it
Totally.
negligence. It's a type of fraud at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Uh,
That makes
yeah.
sense. A lot of our artists don't know how to invoice, even though they do
Mhm.
what we pay them to do for a living. So we have templates for invoices, and our producers are trained to make sure they're invoicing
Beautiful.
every single person we pay. That came from literally when I first met you, and you were like, "You're paying artists how?" And I said, "Okay, Lee, tell me what to do." Now we have everybody
Like,
contracted and everybody invoiced too, and most people are really surprised because most people don't do that.
yeah, no, I know. Nobody does what nobody does everything properly. Which is fine. Capitalism is violence, and there are reasons why I do it the way that I do it, and it's because I'm serving like organizations and populations that are at you know, risk of violence from the state
Talk
directly
about
via
it.
financial you know, oppression, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do it not because I'm, you know, licking the boot. I'm holding the boot back, right?
Literally, yeah. The work you do is hella fucking important. And I agree. It's like somebody's got to protect us within the system too, because state violence through financials is way more detrimental than a lot of other versions
Yeah,
of getting
ask no
fucked up.
cop city or stop
Literally,
cop
no,
city, right?
yeah, exactly. Period.
I
Okay,
mean,
that
I've
makes
been
sense.
saying, and like that came up, and I don't want there to be an example to point at, but like, this is what we're doing. This is why I need a receipt for goddamn everything.
Literally, period. But that makes
Yeah,
sense. So we can do acknowledgement of payment. We got invoices for most of the artists that we work with,
right.
but we don't want
You got
anything done
right.
without having like acknowledgement that we paid the person.
That's beautiful. Love that.
Yeah, great.
Um, okay. Yeah, and we'll see as we go if there are any other forms. But let's go back to MIBF because I can show you anything I want there.
Yeah,
Even though there's
please do.
maybe less. Trying to think of a good one. Because I mean, there's only so much. I might like have another meeting with you later to kind of like go over and look at what you've done, and that'll be like really
Yeah,
helpful to you because I'm not really like usually what I do when I train folks is I process a couple of months for them and then I show them what I processed and we go over it together
yeah,
and then I started like handing over the pieces. But this is we have a little different arrangement together, so maybe I'll
Yeah.
just like pop in and give you notes along the way, which is sort of the arrangement that I have with like PMI, Public Media Institute for like Lumpen Radio's Co-Prosperity Sphere and things like that.
Totally.
Uh,
That definitely works for me. And I think that'd be a great idea. I'd love to do a little follow-up and be like, hello, Papa, did we do it
Mhm.
right?
Is this okay?
Is this
Tell
okay?
me I'm naughty.
No, literally. Oh my God, stop. It's the kinky accounting. Love. Okay, cute.
Okay, so yeah, the PNC. Let's
Great.
look at some other backup packs. I've already got
Oh,
there.
got it. That makes sense. So each backup is going to have its own folder with all the receipts saved to it in the Google Drive.
Yeah, each month has its
Yep.
own folder. So each account has its own backup folder. And one thing I want to again caution you about is like PayPal like has its own thing because PayPal is its own bank. People
Yeah.
often will sort of skip that step that like, oh, I paid through PayPal. All I do is provide the receipt for like the transaction that hit, my bank, but that could be, multiple transactions, money in and out. Like it's just a balance transfer. So like once you have PayPal and your regular bank, you have two separate bank accounts. And not only do you have to process all of the transactions as they hit that other PayPal account, but you also have to process the transfer. And that's a separate backup. That's a separate transaction, right? So like you not only have like all of the number of times up that you spent money out of that PayPal plus all of the money movement. So it like exponentially increases the amount of transactions you process in
Yeah.
that way. You see what I
Yeah,
mean?
that totally makes sense. I am a big fan of less of that, which is why I've asked as many people as they can to send us Zelle if they can.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
So
that makes sense. We got our backups
let's
here.
find a good, let me find a good example. I mean, I guess I could like damn it. I have to go get my medicine so I don't forget to take my medicine.
Not a problem. Please do that. That's very important.
Fine, we're gonna stop.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Meow. Okay, so let's look at a couple of things. 10. For board meeting. Oh, maybe a reimbursement.
Oh yeah, we just did a reimbursement.
I want to look at. Okay, but if I don't bring up the tracker, then I think I can show you and I've already redacted the bank numbers. So that's fine.
Okay.
I was like, there's no sign up because I have to redact all the bank numbers for the thing. So I can show you an example from
Yay.
this.
The best way to learn.
Reimbursement. I think there was a reimbursement and because there was just so much more activity here to play with. I don't want to do that Joey reimbursement. ¿Dónde está Joey Mogul?
Joey Mogul.
Okay, this is a good one.
Okay,
So
great.
you can see all account numbers are redacted. There's nothing sensitive in this file. So this is like their equivalent of a Zelle payment. So this you'll get something like this, like some sort of a receipt from Chase that you'll be able to pull that will have the Zelle details on it, which
Great.
I might be able to find an example from a former client, I think that had Zelle. So you want that. You want to make sure you redact your account numbers because if you do not redact the full bank account number, then you are required to delete these files after the file retention period for audit purposes has passed, which most things are around 7 years, but I don't know the exact one. However, if you redact your the full bank account numbers, then you can keep this forever. So you have it on file for audit and you're not required to go back and burn it on a certain schedule.
Got it.
So that's how
the full number and you don't need any of the numbers. Up or gone.
Yeah, so
I
yeah,
usually
you,
leave the last four. Yeah, so
Okay,
you can leave the
but
last
leaving the
four.
last four is okay. Okay, great.
okay,
Yes,
great, good to know.
Yeah.
Neil
Yeah,
coming
that's
through
it.
with the questions.
yeah, but yeah, it's always, I usually like, I'll reject the full account number if I'm sending money out to a person. But because we're tracking what, that last four I'll leave exposed for the for us. Because that's sort of like what we're tying to, right? So that's, I kind of like, will keep the last four for myself, and then just the name is good enough for the vendor outward, just giving that extra level of like financial security outwards, especially because it's like, that's not going to be the thing that'll be like audited as closely. Like the auditor's not going to have to make sure that, we've put it in the exact bank account. As long as the name matches, that satisfies audit. So
That makes
that'll be
sense.
like the first page that I'll use. That'll be the actual, just the receipt, the payment receipt. And we'll enter this for the date that this payment went out. So that's the transaction date of payment. Right. And so if they billed you, if this was for, say you like got a bill for this month and you didn't pay it till next month, you should really enter in your bill into QuickBooks for the bill date. And you can enter that using this guy, but like it kind of forces you to use their like sales so like products, which I don't enter that way. I don't process things that way. The way that I usually enter it is I use a lot of journal entries
Okay,
for better or worse. So I'll manually put it into accounts payable with a vendor that we're paying like flat hawk accounting, right? And then I'll put in the amounts, and then when we do pay it, you'll pay it out of that. So you want to allocate the expense. So like you put in accounts payable, and then the account might be like bank fees, right? That's not going to be it, but the terrible
yeah,
example.
okay,
But be something like actually oh, I know. It should be like, often it'll be like software platforms and apps, because those will be charged the month out, right? So then
Yep.
you'll allocate the expense. So like if it were coming out of the bank, it would have been a debit to the bank account, because a debit brings your bank account up and a credit brings it down for your
Mhm.
purposes. So
Okay.
kind of you treat accounts payable the same way. So a debit will go in for like the 100 that you owe, and then you'll allocate your credit the expense account for $100 as well. And then once you
Mhm.
pay it, the money will come out of the bank. Oh, I'm sorry. You want it to credit that was backwards. I knew that was wrong.
The payments and the credit, the debit
Yeah.
is the.
Yeah,
you
because
receive.
you debit because the debit makes an expense go up. I was like,
Got
so
it.
when you get the money will come out of your bank account, right? So it'll be a credit to your bank account, and the other side of that equation will be a debit to the accounts payable, which will bring the balance down, right? And so you put in your description, the invoice date, and usually the journal number I use as the invoice number. So I can show you some examples of how I've entered that in other books.
Yes, I love examples. I'm feeling super clear on everything you've said so far, and I feel like I'm excited to learn more. This is me doing the
Fabulous.
verbal version of you reading my face because my camera's not
I
on.
like it.
I
like
got
it.
you, babe. Thank you for communicating. Okay,
Oh, wait.
great.
So let's
We got
finish
part
looking at the
one.
backup packet before I move on, before I show you an entry example.
Yeah, take me there. What else is in the backup packet?
So we've got like the payment receipt, and that's the first thing. And now the
Great.
second thing here is the reimbursement request, right? Because like what we're doing is we're paying a reimbursement. So this
Yep.
stands in as like an invoice, right? Because a reimbursement, that's not like people want to have invoices, but they do have these reimbursement request forms. Or like say they spent they bought up, personal expense on a company credit card, then that would be like a personal expense repayment form.
Yep.
Those are kind of like mirror forms, right?
Mhm.
So I've made this one so that it has like the date, and then we put in the class and the GL accounts there. Some people don't include this information, especially if like their agents are going to be filling them out, because people don't know what that is. And so then they'll just have a lot of questions, or they'll enter just wrong things, which then you have to correct and then note as correcting. So it can become messy, but if because admin, me or the decision maker is filling these out and we are both knowledgeable and good at accurately figuring this information out, we do include it in. So
Got it.
we should include as much information as is accurately and easily reasonably available, right? Or
Totally.
able to.
And if it's not going to be accurate, not worth it to keep. But if it can be
Yeah.
accurate, let's add it in so we have one.
Yeah. Inaccuracy is bad. Like simplify things if you can't do it. But towards like what you can accurately do. That's always a
Got
good
it.
rule.
That makes sense.
So you've got this reason for expense. So like Joey paid out the DJ service for $500, right? So this isn't all, right? So you've got, okay, so yes, we sent $500 to Joey, but that's still not like the receipt for the thing, right?
Mhm.
Because that's not like the DJ thing. So we need an invoice from them still. And we
Got
also
it. Okay.
need a receipt from Joey paying them. So if Joey did pay them, we need proof of that. Well, here is Joey paying them. There is no account
Okay.
information, by the way. It's
Great.
fully redacted. So we've got a receipt showing that they definitely did pay them, but that's not
Mhm.
a receipt for that's still not an invoice or like an itemized listing of what the services were, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
something DJ, right? So then we've
Yeah.
got, and because like the DJ didn't have their own invoicing method, we created one of our forms, which is an acknowledgement of contractor payment. We didn't use a missing receipt form because they don't have them. It's not like they are available and we failed to get one or we lost it. They're unavailable because it was, somebody just kind of filling in the role, kind of like ad hoc.
Got it.
Created this and this is good enough. We didn't have to use a missing receipt. It's an acknowledgement form, like a stipend payment. So
Okay.
and so it might seem ridiculous to have multiple form copies in here, right?
Yeah.
As like we got a form backing up a form, but the auditor still wants to see it. You have to have a form if nothing else.
Yeah.
And then below that, we still have
Oh, and then we have the
one more
tracker.
thing. Yes, because I am an external agent that is not an internal agent. I'm not a decision maker, right? So I don't have like all of the like I can't decide to class it as EA, right? All of
Mhm.
these things. So these notes back and forth, like I always include these in there to confirm the class and the GL account. So if I'm entering my own bookkeeping for myself and I am the decision maker, I don't need to print this out because I'm the one that made the
Mhm.
decision. But like, and if you were the one that was processing the bookkeeping and you're the one making the decisions, then you don't necessarily need to leave this here for yourself. You might put it in your tracker, sure, but you don't have to print out your tracker and include it as backup because what this is backing up is that decision that was made that I'm not allowed to make, and that's
Mhm.
in this case it would be the classing EA and also a confirmation that they don't have any sort of an invoice. So that's why we use this acknowledgement of payment form,
Got
right?
it. So that way, if the person's like checking our audit, they're like, well, why is this here? And then at the bottom, they see, this is why this is the set of things backing it up.
Yes. The
This is
goal
super
of the
helpful because I
backup,
actually, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, the goal of the backup packet is to have the auditor, I want my auditor to have 0 questions. That is always my goal, 0 questions from the auditor.
Okay, that makes sense. This is super helpful because I have a reimbursement that I did for our newest project with Genderfucked VR Collective. They bought a light system and it was this super complex thing. I'm getting them a debit card, so it's no longer this reimbursement thing because they can have a debit card and I can cancel it anytime if I need to. But they bought something. They gave me the receipt for the thing they bought. The friend bought it with their personal debit, and then I paid them back for the thing. So I'm gonna have to do this whole process for them of like, here's the thing they bought. Here's the person who paid for it. Here's us paying them. Here's the reimbursement form showing that we paid for them. And here's the track for why we did all those things.
Fantastic.
Hell yeah.
And
Okay, wait, this is perfect. That was a really helpful example. Thank you, Lee.
worse. Let me just check out your
Oh yeah. If you pull it up,
COA
I
real
can show
quick.
you. COA.
Oh,
So can I'm thinking about what like the main thing that I'd be processing, which is paying our artist. When I'm paying an
uh-huh.
artist, I would have the tracking of where we paid them. So if we paid them on Venmo, we'd show us paying them. We'd have the invoice signed by them to show like the payment for the services of what they did, them signing off that you're paying me this much for this thing, and then the tracker, and that'd be it.
Yeah, and I mean, you may or may not have to include the copy of the tracker.
Okay.
Yeah, you just
Great.
need like the payment receipt showing, and like, one of the good rule to remember is, you remember like I talked about file names, and how everything that's in the file name, needs to be able to be found in the backup doc. So
Yeah.
like that's how, like the only thing that wouldn't be confirmed in all of that, for me was like the class, right? Because that's never gonna
Yeah.
be that per se. So that's why I
Mhm.
included that tracker for myself, and also because of
Got it.
the alternative form that was used. So if you had like an alternative form, or if you were like had a discussion between you and somebody else in that tracker, then absolutely include it. More
Mhm.
information is better than none, or is better than less,
Mhm.
unless that information contradicts each other. So if you start
Yeah.
having like contradictory things, you might leave something out, if it doesn't really fit with everything and is also like immaterial and important or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's also like, just a nice time to point out that everything in any and everything in writing is almost may come back, you know, or may be able to be like requested or found or used to sort of verify, or like figure out, the veracity of your bookkeeping. So send, you know, um, and maybe phone calls for certain situations might be better than written emails, and when you might be talking about how to resolve a situation that might be unresolvable in certain ways.
Totally. Totally.
You're following what I'm saying here.
Yeah. Yeah. That totally makes sense. Also, I feel so good.
Unrecorded
Honestly,
phone calls.
the unrecorded phone calls when the government's not listening.
Yeah.
This is actually really great because like I think what I was so afraid about with accounting was like that I'd fuck everything up and like the nonprofit would explode. But I think now like going through this with you, I'm like, okay, there's rules. I can follow these rules, and now I feel like I actually know what the fuck I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Period.
And
Training
the
helps.
majority
I
of
feel
people's
less
books
scared.
are spaghetti. So if you do it slightly better than most people, which is terrible, then you're fucking reached the auditor already. I'm telling
Okay,
you, if you do
great.
like literally anything, the auditor loves you already.
Yay. I hope so. I'll point them straight to you. I'll be like, Lee taught me. Lee is my
Or they
nerd.
wonder what you're hiding. Why is this so tight? What do you have to hide?
Ah, gotta find the middle ground. Gotta find the balance where they're like, all right,
No,
these
do
people
it
are
tight and
okay.
be like, because bitch.
Yeah, literally.
So
So you
I
can't
would
get me.
So I wanted to actually, because you brought up this reimbursement, you're saying that it is for some sort of tech
Yeah, yeah.
hardware.
They bought
So
lighting equipment.
lighting. Mhm. So I was gonna ask you like where you had intended to allocate that to, and I've got some things highlighted.
Okay, tell me about it. So
Well,
production tech. Yeah, that I think that would probably be where it would be because they're keeping that stuff for like their production company.
okay. And see,
Yeah,
the tech hardware under office expense would be wrong because,
it's not for the office, right? Yeah,
yeah, that's not like a
exactly.
laptop, the office thing. It's not for office work. Even
Yeah,
if it were a laptop for the DJ to run DJ stuff, that would be production tech. If it were
yeah,
a
exactly.
laptop for the bookkeeper, that would be tech hardware.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Helpful. We're working on classy
Cool,
now too. We can
cool,
make this shit happen.
cool. Let's look at this other $100 reimbursement. Again, I like to put things in the same order. It's very predictable. It helps me be accurate. And then once the auditor looks at two things, he already knows what to expect. He doesn't have to
Yes,
ask any more questions, right?
totally.
So I open with that redacted payment form, and then the payment receipt, sorry, and then the form for the reimbursement filled out completely and accurately matching the data.
Mhm.
Notice that we've got the expense date, so that's the date that the expense happened on. We've got our authorization date, right? And we've got the date of the reimbursement was processed. Now I'm preparing
it.
these after the fact. These are already signed off, so I insert the authorization date as the date that it was paid. Because,
Got it.
and the reason why that's acceptable for audit purposes is because the admin, the decision maker is processing the payment, therefore implying their authorization of it. And so me as a person that's processing it as a bookkeeper at a later date, it is acceptable for me to use a pre-signed form and to date it for the date that the admin had processed that payment, because that is that is not me signing off. That is me acknowledging their authorization, right? So,
Absolutely.
this is why it's not fraud for me to make this payment form and to sign it and to have it auto signed. Now, if I were adding a different date, if I were making up some random authorization date, or if I were dating it for when I filled it out, or if I were authorizing it and then using Jen's name and then processing payment for them, that would be fraudulent,
Yeah, that makes sense.
right? So it's important to think about the nuances behind that. So then after that, we've got what was this for? Southside organizing together, a gala fundraising ticket. So now the next thing that I have is an email, which is the backup, that is the receipt. So this is the payment receipt. It's showing, let's make sure that it shows the stuff. So 10/11/23 purchased on 11/3. What?
Right.
Wait. Oh, that's the count. That's the date. 10/11/23 right here.
Right.
Total of $100. $100. Southside together organizing for power. Stop Gala. That's what it is. Southside together organizing for power. So all of this information, like if that's how you like figure out when do I need to stop adding things to this backup document, right? It's when
Mhm.
everything has been affirmed, when all of the details have been acknowledged. So I've got the date 11/2, that's the date 11/2 paid, right? EA is the class, just DISB payment. If they'd paid by Zelle, it would say Zelle. If I could put like kind of ACH payment, but it's a little bit different. It's like an internal, it's kind of like a Zelle. Then I've got the amount, I've got who it was paid to, Joey Mogul, 6080 for the expense account, and then reimbursement dash, and then Stop Gala fundraiser tickets, right? So all
Yep.
of that information that's in that file name is
Perfect.
recorded by the documents therein. And then the final piece is again my tracker, because I'm not the one that makes the decisions. So because I had filled out this form because it was already signed off on, I put in that EA. So that wasn't confirmed to me. And that's why that form isn't good enough to confirm the
Yeah.
EA. That's why I still needed this, because I filled out that form based on this information right here.
Okay. Got it. Got
Right.
it.
Right. So
That's the
that's why
external
that's
agent moment.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Cool.
also another note, like the file names, before they've been, so when people are adding in files for me to process later, I just have them use a very short file name. They just do the date and then the amount and then the vendor. And if there are multiple files, one of two, two of two, or
Yep.
like that. And
Uh-huh.
in a backup, and these are located in a backup to process folder for me to go fishing from. And then I add the full file names out. And the reason why I do that is because it keeps them in chronological order. It's much easier for me to see and find than if people are trying to file name them themselves. Because like number one, they're a little harder to read even when they're accurate and longer. But if they're inaccurate and longer, they become really hard to read. And people tend to tend to not stick to the date style very well. So they'll be out of chronological and also
Uh,
kind of like hard to read, right? So
yeah.
that's why I tend to like force people to do this. It makes it much easier for me. Um, However, if one person is sort of like getting all these files together, then you're probably going to be like pulling this email, yourself. So you would be doing like the original first file name and sort of like building that. So you wouldn't need to have like this backup to process with the shorts unless like that is helpful for you, right? You might like save your stuff to this folder throughout the week and then on Friday come to this folder and process everything there. Or you might be the type of person that on Friday figures it and goes fishing for all of the different parts, right? It
Yeah.
depends on what your flow is.
That makes sense.
how you tend to not lose things best, you know. So I think I wanted to show you an example of let me open up a new private window. Where is it? File, new private window. That way I can have a different QuickBooks open. If I can't open two different QuickBooks accounts on the same, unless one of them is in private.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So who do I want to? I've gotta. Let's just go to MIBF. I'm sure I have. Silly goose. On a telephone.
The telephone.
Taki. Okay, girl. I don't know. Do not share this one-time number with anyone. Like, it's not gonna be good in 5 seconds. What is somebody gonna do with it?
Literally.
Not the same. Like, it's different every time.
I love them saying that to us and then me texting you my one-time number. I'm like, hee hee hee, where people do whatever they want.
Oh, so I know that I just did, let's see, Lad Hot.
Glad how. That sounds like your superhero name, honestly.
Yeah.
Glad Hawk.
Maybe I did put it as a bill. Oh, maybe I did put it as in a bill, but you can do a category.
Okay.
Let me look here. New bill. Oh yeah, because category is yes. So yes, do enter it as a bill.
Got it.
Some things will like make you use their products and services. I don't like the products and service setup. It's messy, IMO.
Got it.
It does a lot of things for you, but it tends to not do them so well.
Mhm. You're like,
So when
it'll
I
do
put
a
in the
job.
bill, yeah. So I put in the bill, right? And I put it in like to me, and then the bill date, and we've got the category, what it is, the amounts, right? And so that and then I put a copy of the bill in here. And that's there for the audit trail. Yippee. Work.
Yippee.
And now when I'm doing this, I can mark this as paid, and I can do it for a certain date. I don't want to do that. Oh, they just did pay it, so I could. Oh, but I can find my last one. That way I don't have to actually do it. So I put that one in as a bill as also. And then I like marked it as paid. And so let's go to the payment thing. And so then you have a bill payment entry. And that's you put in the payee again, and then the payment date, the ref number. I usually use for the bill, I use the number that I use is my invoice number. And then
Okay.
for the payment, I usually use the payment transaction number for that ref number.
Okay.
And
Alright.
now forever when I go back to this payment, it's gonna show any open lines that I have, which is stupid. This is not part of this payment. It's confusing. It's just the way that QuickBooks does it. Don't ask me why. But like this doesn't apply to that bill payment. And
Mhm.
once I have this bill connected to another bill payment, it'll no longer show up down here,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
that makes
think
sense.
I might be able to like turn off the suggestions. No. Or I could like force it. I guess I could get rid of it like that. So once all of the bills are paid and there's no outstanding bills, it'll be clear. And this is a good point to like sort of tell you why I like to process each accounting item like one at a time. Like I'll process the bill payment, like I'll 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 locate it on the tracker. I will build the backup pack for it. I'll file name it. I'll save it in its folder. I'll enter the transaction into QuickBooks, and then I'll also enter the bill payment. I usually am processing it, once the bill has been paid. I'll also
Totally.
process the payment at the same time, and I'll also match it to the banking transaction at the same time. And the reason
Wow.
why I do all like one after another is because instead of doing like all of the entries and then doing all of the bill payments and then doing all of the matches on the banking screen, is because once I get to those next steps, it'll have a whole list of everything that's ready and waiting for me to cross, right? If I do them all one at a time, then there's usually only one here to choose from, right? So I don't have
Got
to
it.
this list, like it takes less time. Like you've got to think about like where is the efficiency going to be saved. At first I thought it would be more efficient to do all of the same entry thing and then do all of those, then do all of those. But then I spend more time like hunting out the transaction again in between. And so I actually ended up saving more time by like doing the individual tasks one after another for the doing like the entire life of that one transaction and then going and doing the next transaction as far as I could and then the next transaction. And then, like when you get to a transaction, like, oh, the backup isn't actually ready. Well, I mark that one yellow, leave it in the backup to process folder, move on to the next one and do that one as far as I can do to completion. Right.
Totally. Totally.
And then at the very end, and when you're matching it on the baking screen, that does mark it as cleared. So it kind of like does the reconciliation process step for you, which that won't make sense until I go in and show you how to reconcile things. It's a whole
Mhm,
last thing. But
mhm.
this is the manual match. This shows like, oh, it is matched to a transaction. It's not like a real hot link. I can't go to that anywhere. It just shows
Mhm.
it to me. And it also doesn't list which bank account. This in the transaction happens to include the bank account, like that it's PNC. But if I had multiple, like if I had a checking and two different savings accounts, it would be hard to tell later on if I were going back and looking for a variance. Like it would be hard to tell which bank it was actually attached to, which that to me is um, it's not very good for a investigation tool later on, but
Mhm.
it gives you something. You could always copy paste this and like copy this and then go into your tracker and hit Control F, and it should find that fairly quickly.
Mhm.
So it does give you some tools to work with. But so that so now let's go back here.
Great.
Else. No, start. Let's go to oh yeah, because they had so
Start.
many yeah, they have so many good like backup types. Let's look at another random thing. That's survivor info, so I won't. So like this is a notary. That one was really easy. It's just the receipt. For you, it'd
Mhm.
probably just receipt. For myself, I also need the tracker because I need to have the confirmation um,
Mhm.
of the class. Um, Transportation. So we've got just that. And that includes all of the description that I need.
Mhm.
So multiple stuff. AmGuard insurance. So we've got a payment that is redacted, so there isn't a full account number showing. And then their invoice and also like confirmation of the payment. If it was an ACH, if it was a check, then it won't be on there.
Yeah.
But and then that. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff. What else? Is there anything unusual? Oh, now, and also here's another thing. So once like activity level has gotten so high, so you notice like we were in 9 and there was just a lot of activity.
Mhm.
That's about as much as I want in a slush bucket. Their activity went from like maybe 23 transactions, about average 23 exactly transactions per month to like 50 and more, and like 300 then when you count in Square. So it got really out of control.
Oh,
So
wow.
my general rule is like once you have so much transaction activity that it's like it's like over like 20 items or so, it is beneficial to then start breaking it out into the individual transaction types as well. So under your monthly folder, you'll have debits and credits, and checks written and deposits. Well, you have like
Okay.
a folder for each transaction type that you do.
Mhm.
That you might have like, so for debits, I would include the Zells as well as the like the gas station stuff. So your debit card plus your Zelle might be in there unless like it is useful for you to break out the Zells into one folder by themselves. So just however it's useful for you. But like if
Totally
you only
makes
have
sense.
yeah, if you only have like 10 transactions though, having these folders is more work to create them and to like click through to see if there's anything even in there, than it
Mhm.
is like useful. Um,
Yeah.
so like deposits is sitting empty right now, So sometimes
Yeah.
I won't like for the Chicago Bond Fund, there's always every transaction type and a lot of them, like it's almost guaranteed for the Gen Ops account. So I will create them. I create all of them standard, with debits, credits, checks written, deposits, withdrawals, and payroll journals would be the 5 OP accounts that I have under there every time. But then for like their other coalition account and their revolving fund account, it's not important what they do, but they have much lower transaction activity. So even though I do break them out, like sometimes I don't add the folder until there is something to add in it. So I won't add the checks written until they
Ah,
write for that month. So if there's
totally.
only debits
Totally.
for that month, you go to the sub and then there's just a debits folder. And like there's almost always at least two.
Yeah.
But so for the coalition account, it was even like there might be one debit and one credit. So I stopped even doing individuals for that one and it became a slush account again.
Got it.
So it's just about grouping the data in small enough chunks so that it is readable and findable.
Totally. That
Okay.
makes sense.
So here's a good thing to sort of talk about. So for grants, you're going to want your grant agreement, and that's the date that you want to allocate the awarded. So it was awarded 10/11/23.
Mhm.
And then it was received in 10/20. But this was a real quick turnaround. Often it'll be 1, 2, 3 months after it's awarded. So you want to make sure that you enter it in your accounts receivable so that you can allocate that grant income because like at 10 to 11. So on 10/11, on their P&L or on their like statement of activity, it shows that they got this grant income, right? Even though it wasn't in the bank yet, they were something like $50,000 in grant income richer. And so that was sitting in their accounts receivable for grants receivables. And then when it came into the bank, the money in the bank and then out of the receivable account. So it didn't touch their income account when it was actually paid out later, only at the moment that it was awarded, because that's when it became yours. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So then we've got, I like to include the award. So like the award letter confirms the date that it needs to be allocated. And then
Mhm.
also the grant agreement, that's important to include because that tells you whether or not it's a general operations a grant or specific to something.
Yep.
Plus
Yep.
any sort of like emails that might have relevant info that is important to the audit trail. Notice
Yep.
in this one, I don't have a copy of my tracker. And that's because the details were discussed over email and I didn't have, there was nothing else like useful in the tracker that I needed to carry over.
Got it. That makes
So
sense.
I didn't include it. And again, it should be the same for this kid. So we've got, well, it looks like that's so this one has the decision date. It doesn't have like a formal award letter. It is buried in the sort of the grant agreement or the grant details for the Illinois Humanities. So that's why it kind of looks like I skipped a piece, right?
Yeah.
It's missing formal letter that's often included, but
Okay.
it wasn't provided in this case. That information, that award information is here. So there's an electronic signature. So this serves as that, right? So this is the grant agreement or the award letter and the award letter sort of in one. But because that's
Got it.
and then we didn't have an email back and forth with any details. So as opposed to that, instead of including that, I've got my tracker again with them confirming that this is a grant income from humanities. Right.
Got it.
And then one other thing, like if you've got, say you've got like right now they're getting their Square isn't really for merchandise sales. They're using it as a donation receipt platform, almost specifically for tickets um to their annual fundraiser and sponsorships for their fundraiser and also like auction purchases, right? Or raffle
Okay.
tickets.
Yeah.
So instead of so I have a more relaxed backup thing. You might think like, what? This is more relaxed? Yes, this is more relaxed because do not have a receipt for every single transaction here. All I'm
Mhm.
doing is one piece of backup for every single Square entry for that month. And as you can see, all of these white lines here, those are all the Square transactions. Like I said, their
Ah,
transaction activity went from 23 to like this, a full page. And so then I've got a printout of all the sales. And so this shows like, there's me, Lee Dewey. And then, you know, like the account code and then what it was. And so this is because this is all like a very specific type of income because they're not sending people money through their Square and they're not selling other types of merch. It is simply only like donations or sponsorship income or ticket sales. So like fundraiser income.
yeah.
I decided that it was fair enough to process it with just CSV. These are like basically trackers. It's just like those bank account trackers that I've created. I created one
Mhm.
for the sales activity. And then I also, so that's 2 pages. I'm sorry, 3 pages of activity for sales. Oh,
Mhm.
I don't have a number, but it was like a fuck lot.
Yeah.
And then another printout because like remember when I said each platform is double, like it's an exponential increase. We've got a single transaction for each item sold. That's 1, 2, 3. So every single item is one transaction or one line into QuickBooks. And then also every single transfer out into the bank is another thing. So we've got like the money coming into them as the item sales plus an entry to Square for the transfer. And that's like 2 lines. That's out of Square and into bank, right? So when you think about the
Yeah.
number of lines that you're entering, it gets bigger, right?
Yeah.
I'm entering deposits into their QuickBooks, one line item for every single item sold. And then I'm entering one transaction for each distribution payment out, wherein I also capture or allocate the fees at that time.
Okay. Nice.
So
That's so efficient.
yeah, it's more efficient. It took me what would have taken me, I calculated it at like 60 hours, took me more like 9 hours.
Oh, wow. That's a big difference.
Yes, it is. And as you can see, like all of these lines, like that, every single line here represents a transaction line that I entered, every single line there. And then not every single line, but every yellow part, because I would combine like these are the days batched for one distribution. I only entered one distribution. I didn't enter in the individuals. I just totaled. So I did simplify it even more than this a bit. But
Perfect.
the way that I created this is just downloading CSV reports from Square and creating tracker things and matching them up, right? So it's like, how do I like, you know, the CSV download give you a lot of columns. So identifying which columns were important for my entry, which did I need to enter in and what else and how do I need to and like how do I match the data from different reports together? So I tied it together using like the payment IDs,
Mm.
which is available in both the sales reports and the deposit reports. And that's one of the few numbers that crossed over, right? But then when I
Yeah.
was entering it, the payment IDs are 3 digits longer than you're allowed to use for QuickBooks reference numbers. So I ended up using for sales, I ended up using their entry time. So the hour, minute, second as the ref number because
Okay,
the ref
creative.
numbers were too long. Yeah, and because I thought it was better than doing a partial one because I'd have to remember it would take me longer to cut that down to the right number and to chop off the last four. And then I would feel like I would need to sort of like copy it into the memo as the full number as well. So I just skipped that and
Totally.
used the time because that is a fairly unique. It's not fully unique, but it's fairly unique.
Definitely.
It
Definitely.
was rare that there were multiple items sold at the same second that weren't sold in the same to the same person at the same time, like two
Yeah,
items selected. Those would be sold at the same second.
that makes sense.
Oh, so that's a different type of backup example, and this is rare. This is and you can see I've only got one like full report, and that's just the bottom line of the total sales for the month to sort of corroborate or to rest this on. But the reason why I'm doing this is like this now won't leave the auditor with zero questions because these are like spreadsheets that I created from CSV downloads. So what they're gonna want to see is more. They're gonna ask me for things. That's not gonna shut them up.
Yeah.
So I've got another Square folder where I've retained those things. So let's see the October one. So I've got the plain unmolested CSV pulls here. I haven't even chopped off the empty lines. That's just as it came. And then, if they downloaded the CSV, they could verify that they could easily do, a quick acid test to figure out that these are unmolested.
Yep.
And then I created my trackers over here by copy pasting over. And so actually I made a copy of the CSV. I called it manip for the time being. I formatted it the way I like. And then I cut and paste the columns over from the tracker template that I created to make this a faster process. And so basically that just when I created the tracker, not only do I have a couple of lines so that I can do that, that paintbrush for the formatting, but also I've got an extra column in here with some like procedural notes, which is helpful for, the hit by a bus clause or for multiple people doing things, right? Or
Totally.
for editor when they want to know what I'm doing. I would send them this template. I would send them the tracker this tracker for that. And then I would also send them have like PDFs reports fresh from Square for that same time period, and that would satisfy auditor. So like in this case, like the time that I'm saving, that 60 hours versus 9 hours of entry, it was worth it for me to have to answer some questions to the auditor at the year end in the event of they're pulling one of these transactions as their review. Right.
Totally.
So you just have to remember like what your you know like when you compromise one way, like where are you taking that time from? Like if you do decide to make something, like if you want to save time in one area, you just want to acknowledge like where that time might have to come from later on if there's a problem. So like it might seem like an easy button now. Like most people don't keep all of that backup because they're like, well, if I get it audited, I'll find it and I'll give it to them then, right? And that's what most people operate on, except that like if you get behind 2 months, you can quickly see how hard it is to find those receipts from 2 months ago, right? Like, let
For
alone
real.
now, didn't do it all year, and we're looking at January from last year. What? I don't even have the same email account. I have a new computer. What the hell happened?
Literally, yeah.
So, should be real.
It gives be prepared.
Yeah. How are you doing? How are you feeling? We're coming up on it's 6. We've been going 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel clear on everything that we've covered so far. My hard stop is at 7 o'clock. I have a different meeting I have to run to. Ha ha ha! Love having a day off and working.
Yeah,
But
my
yeah, I
second.
feel like I understand everything minus the like how to actually enter the thing into QuickBooks. How are you feeling, my friend? Wait, can you hear
Oh,
me?
me.
How are you
I thought,
feeling?
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought you were talking to partner for a minute.
Oh, no. Neil is very focused on driving. It's snowing.
I'm not killing us, okay?
Yes, that's his whole goal.
Uh, I'm good. I could like, let's see.
Do you wanna take like a 5?
That's useless to me. I mean, we can take it if you want.
I feel good. I'm in a car and I can't go anywhere. Um, yeah. I feel like
I'll just
this,
smoke. I was like, we are recording though. I was
yeah,
like,
I
I'll
can
do whatever I want.
wait.
Tools.
Welcome back to the Trans Accounting Learning Spot process with your friend Lee and your resident not knowing much person, Don. And Neil. Neil's here too. Neil is our
Neil.
king monkey.
Yes.
Yes.
Get out of here. Now, so I figure I'll just like show you what I do. So I'm setting up my workstation how I always set it up.
Yes.
I usually do a little split screen situation. I've got a little top and bottom. I look at things at the same, like I like to be able to see both documents. I don't like to flip back and forth where I'm entering something I can't see, even if I'm copy pasting. It improves my accuracy.
Totally.
And I had less real estate, but that also like gives me a smaller slice. Like if I can, sure, I can see all of these lines, but if I'm only looking at this one line, like, I found it to not be a bad thing to give myself a little less real estate, is all I'm trying to say.
Totally makes
Uh,
sense.
a little slicings. So although I do feel luxurious with my new Mac, these extra 2 inches.
Okay. We upgraded.
You did. Okay, so I need to do your thing.
Not the police.
Mhm.
It's probably an accident. That's okay. That's what we get for driving in the winter.
We'll make it through. If
Yeah,
it
no.
is, it's probably more recent because it looks like nothing's
Yeah.
stopped yet.
I think that's in your folder.
The other side of the road is completely blocked off.
Oh, for real?
So maybe they're going over to the other side. That would be. Oh. Fingers crossed. Oh.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, Lee. It kicked me off for a
Oh,
moment.
you're good.
Should be good. There's a gnarly accident on the other side of the highway, but we are okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think that it'd be better just to maybe we can set another meeting for soon and we can pick this back up and do a dedicated thing.
I feel good where we're at. Like the accident doesn't involve us at all. It's literally on the other side of the highway. And my phone kicked out just because I think it just was like stopping my, yeah, I was like looking for Wi-Fi or something, but my service is fine.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
So what was the last thing you heard?
I think you were logging in to the thing the
Oh,
last time.
it's just okay. So I was saying I have 3 QuickBooks tabs open on top.
Got it.
And I do that for a reason. Usually like the first tab, I usually have like how kind of like where I'm running my work. This is what the screen that I'm making my entries from.
Got it.
So I'll often like have it ran for like maybe reports, maybe it'll be ran for the if I'm doing Stripe entries, I might like, do the statement of financial position. That way I can like open up that Stripe account and kind of like use that to like copy paste or to like look at my previous entries and start building my entries off of that.
Totally.
Because I like to use the older entries as a base. That way I can like kind of save time and make sure that it remains consistent. So it's two things, efficiency and accuracy.
Perfect.
If I'm just doing general expense entries, I will usually run the statement of activity for the year or all time and whatever. And so that just kind of shows me like all of the activity for each account. And as I open up the different backup packs or come across them, I can be like, oh, that's this type of thing, that's a subscription. So I would just dip into my um contractors. Dues and subscriptions. So I just like dip into like dues and subscriptions. Why is this so fat up here? I'm sorry, it's taking more real estate than it usually does.
Get that real estate back, land back. Let's go.
Hard to read. Okay, so I might like open that up to look at the last ones, and then I can open up the most recent one that I'm doing, right?
Okay.
And once that's open, you can go to more and you can
Yep.
go to copy.
Okay.
And so when you copy it, it will warn you up here. And I like to not X that out. I keep that in there because sometimes I have a bad habit if I'm tired or I'm doing a lot of entries or either it's like the very end of a very long shift or it's the first three things that I process. That's when I make my most mistakes. Usually the first thing I process is where I'm gonna find my mistake, honestly. First email I send definitely has a typo in it for sure. For sure. But so I'll go, to the last expense entry. I'll copy it. One of the common mistakes if you do this habitually is you forget to copy it and you just start overwriting it.
Wow.
If it's an expense entry that which isn't linked to like a bank transaction, like why isn't this matched? Oh, because I haven't reconciled the month yet, though.
Okay.
I got questions.
The questions are here.
Now, 115.24. Was entered for the wrong date. Oh, because I just copied it. That's why. Girl. So let me get out of here. Let me go back. Subscriptions, but I was in here. Back. Because we started allocating that somewhere else. Okay. Now I understand. I'm working on my actual client data. So if I run into a possible variance, my habit is to think about it or resolve it right away in real time, as opposed to, oh, I'll look at that later, because you forget to look at things later.
Correct.
I mean, all of us,
On-
everyone.
Yeah, that's so valid. You're like, I gotta figure out what this is now.
I was like, what is going on? There's a problem. Let me dig all the way back out, come all the way back in. What's happening? Okay. So I think I understand why that's that way. Everything's fine. But I will go about it by making a copy of this. And so usually like I want to choose a different example now that I think that's fine because oh, glitch girl,
Which girl?
glitch girl.
That sounds like a hyper pop drag queen.
So this one should be fine. Yes. So with this expense, like if I forgot to copy it and I just started overriding it because it has that online banking match that I showed you earlier.
Yep.
It'll give me a warning. It'll say, are you sure you want to change this? Because it's linked to other things. Now, it'll only do that though if it's a different amount,
Got it.
usually. Like sometimes, like if you change some things, like it might not, I don't know, sometimes it won't like ask you. Or it won't warn you, but if you do get through, like that's how, well, I guess mostly if it's matched, it'll definitely give you a warning, but there might be times that you're entering things repeatedly like that don't have online banking matches. Like when I enter in like that Square activity, I don't have a Square feed, so it's not actually linked to anything. It's reconciled manually. So like it might not give you the same warning system. It might just allow you to copy something and then you don't realize that you did it. And so then at the end of the month, like your final balance won't tie. So then you'll have to go through back all of your work and be like, oh, okay, which one is missing now? Because if I overwrote something from February, then it can kind of be hard to like see that that's missing. And
Yeah.
so
Okay.
and that's another reason why when I'm going to overwrite something, like I choose the most recent one. I don't know if you caught that I said that earlier. I choose the
Yeah,
most
yeah.
recent time I paid it, and
Okay.
that's the one that I chose to overwrite. Because if I do accidentally fuck it up, it'll be in the last month that I'm working with, right? So it's easy to like, oh, did I miss one? Well, is last month's there? That's a really easy thing to see, as opposed to where
Yeah.
did I get that one from? Just the first one that I saw on the list. Oh, that could be anything, right? So then it's like, oh, now I gotta like find it. And another reason, if you've updated like maybe your memo or the way that you do your like transaction number or anything about it, or maybe if you've updated the way that you process it in any way, you want to have your most recent thing. So because like if you change something, it should be consistent going forward. Otherwise, it presents audit risk. So like
Yeah.
if one way and then you change the way that you process it and then you go back to the old way and then you go back to, oh shit, I was doing it that way. And so like you have alternate ways of processing things, that starts to look messy for the audit trail. And maybe it won't be a big deal if it's just maybe the way that you write the memo, but like that then makes it harder to see, right? If they're all the same, do you see how easy it is to read that?
Totally.
Right. And so like it's if something doesn't say that, it's really easy to spot a problem, right? Also, so it makes it easy to read when everything is right. It makes it easy to see if something is wrong. If you made a fat finger mistake or a fumble finger mistake. Phrasing. And also yeah, if it's not all consistent, then you can't do those things. So that's why it's always the same.
That makes sense. We're going for consistency. That's the point.
Yes. People often resist, and I'm like, there's a reason.
There's
Well,
a
let me
reason.
count the ways. So many reasons. Listen to all my reasons. So let's enter something for you real quick, instead of just more talking about entering, if I possibly can. This is ready to enter, so what do we have to enter? I gotta pull that statement, I gotta pull that statement. I don't wanna do a transfer, I would like to do an expense. I think she probably provided me some expenses. So those will be in my backup to process folder. Here's an iPostal for 12/1. It's like that one that I opened earlier, so this is a decent example. So the first thing I do is I usually run like I use this tracker to guide my work, right? So like I will usually do the next transaction. So if I were processing it all by myself, I usually will go through and I'll process all of the bank statement fees and like those types of transactions together, kind of doing them one at a time, but like similar ones together, and then I'll move on and I'll do like all of the, like the donation income in one after another together.
Yeah.
So there I am kind of like batching certain procedures together in some ways, but then with my entering like in QBO, I like to make sure I do the full cycle through QBO all at once, right, for each individual transaction. So and it kind of like it varies from client to client and from task to task. you know, so like you'll find your own particular way to mix things. So this is just one example of my methodology.
Okay,
Um,
that makes
it all
sense.
looks very similar to this. So instead of going chronologically as I would normally do, I'm finding I'm cherry picking. So sometimes I'll cherry pick if I'm really tired at night, you know, and I'm just like, I can only handle this type of transaction. So I'll just cherry pick a few things that are easy to do.
Totally.
And so that's what we're replicating now. So first I read my notes to see where I was, provide my backup, discuss with Hannah. We are in agreement for the new coding, plus COA update, upload receipt to the backup folder. So we've got that, and that hit the account for $3 on 12/4. Oh, no,
No, come back.
no. It was charged on 12/1. That makes sense. They would have posted on 12/4, $3. I postal, it's only one document. So that is that passes my first veracity check. So I download at that point to my laptop. If I would find something wrong here, like maybe they had uploaded the wrong month, that might be a common mistake. I would update this file name by going P like this,
Mm-hmm.
just to indicate that it's pending, that there's some sort of a question. But because, oh no, that's a CSV, don't open. No,
No.
ask you to download this, please. Oh, it's in docs, that's why it doesn't want to download PDF. So make a PDF. Maybe that was a good example. So when I download something, I just always do 2023 to my downloads folder. Just makes it, that's quick. I use the year. So and at this step, I don't want to keep multiple files. And usually like I'm adding things together. So I will I burn these files. You might not have that same process. You might be originating all of your files, but if you do have like a slush bucket, I'd like to name these delete. That way I don't have two different copies of the file existing. It makes it easier to, you know, if I need to find it later and I'm at the auditor's asking for it and it wasn't in the QuickBooks like entry, then I could search it and I would just find the one file that I needed as opposed to like the partial files and the final files coming up from a search. That's why I rename it delete and then I delete it and then I empty the trash. So it's deleted.
Delete.
Thrice do I delete you. So now we've got our little doodly dad that we're doing our thing. And now I need to add a thing for my tracker, which I haven't created yet, but I will do my alternative. This is a good enough, and I can always update the backup packet later. And if I forget, this will be good enough. So one thing that instead of creating that nice printout that I like to do, and I don't have time to kind of like go through that process. Reset. Come on, screenshot. There we go. Now I have to PDF this as well.
Ah, okay. Screenshot PDF. Now we got the tracker.
Yeah. But I kind of want it to be. I want it to be that, but I don't want it to auto rotate. Is that going to be too small? Ah, fuck it. And then I usually always name my subsequent files #1. I have very good desktop hygiene and file hygiene. I burn all of my files every day.
Nice.
Insert from file. See this is my downloads folder. When you walked in, I've got your CSV, one file and one 2023. And I emptied my trash last night.
Damn, you better. You said we're taking the trash out.
Bitch.
Please.
Pest control.
Period.
Anyway, I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm just saying that everybody could be better.
Step
Ah,
it up, bitch.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna bring that into my manager who gave me a terrible
They will
photographer.
fire you. That was the brattiest shit that I've ever bratted.
That no. Honestly, though, I am bringing that to my manager to be like, bitch, give me a better performance review if you don't want me to do shitty work.
Hey, do it. Please do.
Oh yeah, great. So we got.
So,
we the
I've
track
got
going.
so now I've got like the thing. So now at this point I need to file name it. And I had burned, notice I just like had renamed it. So I kind of like burned their file name. So I rename it based on all the things. And that's how I make sure like as I'm reviewing that everything is, can you please select the file name? Thank you.
That's salt.
I think they're salting it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 2023 12/01. It is important that we use the transaction origination date. So as opposed to using 12/4 when it posted the bank account.
Totally.
As you can see here, it hit 12/4. The correct date is the initiation date. And our class, updated the internal accounts. It's not confirmed here, but because iPostal is always, that is OP. You don't always have to confirm something if it's consistent every time. OP. Yeah, it's always OP. Also, that's another trick. I like to copy paste my old file names. This is for a scheduled pickup. Control. Yes. So I'll take like the old file name entirely, actually. Control C,
Nice.
Control V. OP debit, it was still $3. iPostal 1, 6050, but now that's probably an old, notice like we updated this like
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I need to check my chart of accounts. I almost always have my chart of accounts open also. I forgot to open that because I'm rush working.
Yep. That
Um,
makes sense.
so,
So we're looking for our chart of accounts. We got to figure out what it's categorized as.
yeah, but I just, I think it was under digital mail services. Okay, so it is 6050. That's good. And then mail pickup fees, perfecto. And so if I were just holding this and not processing it yet, I would like leave it like that, right? That's the file name. But when I process something, my signature to indicate that it's done is this little footy mark. So I go ahead and add it in at this point. So like if I were processing this and it hadn't hit the bank account, right? Say like I'm like ahead of time. I got this receipt. I just processed this. I'm the admin. I want to put this together and I'm going to enter it in QuickBooks and no, it's not on my bank account yet, but that's fine. Like once it does hit, like I will add that foot, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it'll already exist in my like tree, right? So I've got, those are my little like kind of like talking to each other, like little marks. So yeah,
Totally. That makes
they're
sense.
indicators. So now that this is together, I will make this small. So it's like about the same size as my other screen down there and flip it back and forth between those two to use it to enter.
Got it.
If I'm making like, usually if I'm creating an entry from scratch, I'll copy paste my file name. Because that will give me most of the data that I can then break apart and control paste into my entry. So
Got it. So we
on
have
the
we have the
tab,
document ready and we're going to QuickBooks and now we're gonna enter it.
yep, we're about to enter. I wanted to note one thing before I make the entry. So I've got 3 tabs open for QuickBooks. The first one is for like building my entries, for making the entries. The second tab is set to bank transactions, and this is where I match it.
Okay.
And we have multiple bank accounts, so I make sure that the correct one is selected. It is. And then the third one, like I said, is for random questions that I have during the entry process. So we're going over here and I want to make a new entry. Let's just do it from scratch because we're going to be doing a lot of these from scratch. So I would choose an expenditure for something that is basically like charged, like the invoice date is 12/1 and that is the transaction date. if it were something like the invoice date was like a month ago, like you remember when I showed you earlier, I would do it as a bill and then pay the bill if it were paid in the month in the period after. And that's
Okay.
so I could allocate the expense to the proper period that it was originated in, and also allocate the payment transaction, the bank transaction. Not allocate, but enter the bank transaction for the date that it was originated properly, and keep those in the separate proper time periods for accrual accounting purposes. Because this is, if they are within the same month and within a few days of each other, both of those things, then you can just enter it as an expenditure. See, this is like 12/19 is technically probably the date. If I wanted to enter this as an invoice or as a bill, I could put it in as a bill at 12/19. Oh, no, that was the date that I printed, 12/1. Like if this said something else, I could put it in as a separate date, but if it's relatively close, you can do it as long as it's in the same period. So we'll start with an expenditure entry. If you don't have the vendor already set up, I like to put them in ahead of time, just if sometimes for if I'm making like larger entries, because if you're in like a large deposit entry and you start adding in customers or vendors while you're in that entry, sometimes if like it causes a glitch, or if there is a glitch, then you can lose data, or
Oh.
it takes longer to kind of like get the for it to like process. So it can be quicker to add all of your vendors at like maybe one step and then like have them already in there. But if you're just doing a one random expense, then it's not a problem at all to add a vendor this way. If a vendor already exists, it should come up as you start typing. And so
Great.
you want to make sure that you're always selecting it. If you, before I think I had like, oh, and also if you choose a vendor, with the way it's set up, often it'll start populating the data for you. You want to be careful though, like for iPostal, there are multiple types of services. And although they are all coded for the same expense account, previously they were not. And also they have different memos, right?
Yeah.
And so like sometimes I don't like it auto populating because it can lead to inaccuracy because you forget to update it too accurate. And that's where one of my weaknesses lies. I like to choose a one that I don't need to alter too much for certain fields. If it's a different price, I always remember that. And there's checks and balances, like I have to match it to a transaction. So there's something to tell me if I made a mistake. But for other things, I can find a mistake much later and be like, oh, that was silly. Oh, I know why I did that. It was just a lazy mistake.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
That makes
you'll
sense.
find your way. So the trans date is 12/1/23. So let's get her. Also, I should tell you to do them in order. While you're first learning, you should, when you select the thing, don't use your mouse and your finger pad, use your tab button.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you only have a bank account, then the one it should be selected. When you first do your first couple of entries, you'll have to manually select it. It'll probably automatically be on like that one, but that'll be wrong.
Ah.
And if you're using PayPal or you're using Stripe, you want to make sure that you pick the right bank account. That's a common mistake, right? And so
Okay.
that's another reason why I say tab, especially if you're overriding something, or if it is overriding, you want to every time, like when you tab it, make sure number one, you hit every single box, and that drives you to review the information in that box. And also like if you skip around, you might forget to go back. And sometimes if you change things over here, like later on, it'll undo things that you put in up here. So if you fill them in the order that it tabs, you will never lose prior data by doing something down here, if that makes
Got it.
sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. So
If
we
you
want to hit
skip
that.
around, yeah. And
Okay.
so the next thing is payment method, and we paid this via debit.
Debit.
And then the ref number for this, we've got an invoice. So I usually will, come on, girl. Okay, so
Yeah.
it won't let me do it. 177822855 177828555. Check. 6050 is correct. Mail pickup fees is correct. $3 is correct. Donor, you can track things by donor. Say you have like a donation that's specific to, it's not a general operations like grant, like you can only use it for, you know, food for like artists, right? Like somebody was like, no, this can only be used for like stocking the green room.
Mhm.
So like everything that you buy, like you might like then attach that donor to this, so that way you can kind of like track the usage of that back to them, right? But if it's not applicable, you can leave it blank. And most of the time I say you should have every field should be filled out except for the rare ones that are not applicable.
Got it. Okay.
And most of the time, everything will be applicable. Ref numbers, sometimes there is no ref number and you can kind of make something up if it makes sense, but you can leave that blank if there is truly no ref number. But generally, like there's usually a wealth of things like, well, which one? There's 3 things here that I could choose. So you got to figure out which one. Like pertains to mail ID this, you know, like the invoice number is pretty obvious, but what about the transaction number? Is there a transaction number? Oh, well, this one's too long for the amount of data, so this one is better. Oh, you know, like it depends. Like which one do I use for the bill? Which one do I use for the payment? Oh, well, the invoice number for the bill and then the transaction ID for the payment, obviously. But so like sometimes you make choices.
That makes
Um,
sense.
and there's logic behind it. And then class for this one is Gen Ops, because
Yep.
it's mail. That's a general operational expense.
Cool.
I would like to point out that you should always use your put memos in both places, the description and the memo field. Because when you run certain reports in QuickBooks, it will choose one or the other, depending on how, like if there are multiple lines here, then it will only choose this one for some reports, but for other ones, it'll choose all of them individually. And what that all means is that sometimes if you only do one or the other, some reports will be blank, right? Even though
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I know I put in a memo. Oh, well, it depending on like which one it's going to choose. And so if you only have like one line item, you just copy paste it. It's 1 extra second.
Period.
If you're writing a fucking memo, just copy paste it over. And then, you know, like if I had multiple line items, so like if this were like a Target, you know, expense and they bought paper and they bought like you know, tissues and they bought like different things and there were different categories, you'd have different lines. So you'd, you know, say like, you know, office supplies here, you know, cleaning supplies here, printing expense here. And then the final memo down here would be like miscellaneous supplies and other items at Target, right? You would have a summary of all of those. So
Okay.
each line have its own like description, and that would be it's sort of like a sub memo. But and so you know, so some accountants like if it's only one item will be like, well, I'll only put it there, or I'll only put it there because it is the same. While that is true, QuickBooks is dumb. So put it both places.
That makes sense.
Lee out. No. But then the last step here is to add an attachment. Oh, cancel. I did not obsessively compulsively hit Control S twice before I did that.
Got it. Got to.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've uploaded a partially done file because I didn't hit Control S the last time, and then like whatever, and then like I'd saved the thing, and then I went to close this file, and it was like, "Do you want to save your document?" I'm like, "Well, what did I change?"
Oh my gosh.
And then I gotta open this entry, burn that file, and upload the new one just in case. Tell you, front end the work or back end the work, you're gonna do the work.
Literally.
Control S is one more time. I do a little bit of obsessive compulsive Control S thing, and I think it's because I'm 40.
Yeah. Gotta make sure it saves.
Yeah, I've just lost too much. I've seen too much. You know, back in my day, printers, we had to rip off our perforated edges.
Oh.
But we can print banners, y'all. Y'all children don't know what it's like to print a banner. The
Period.
privilege
Okay.
of you'll know.
we got the attachment in, and that's the last step, right?
For that part. Cat,
Yeah.
get your ankles out of my view. I'm sorry.
No, you're safe.
Okay, so now that that is saved, and when that saves, it closes, and now I'm left where I was before, right, on that old expense. So I just get out of there, and the reason why I want to exit out of there is that's my first chance to review that it has gone in. And usually, see, I would be kind of like picking expenses out of a row, so I would have been taken back to a place in a report that would have meant something to me, this doesn't mean anything. So there's no review here that I can do. I could. Nah, that's gonna glitch. So digital mail services, it would have left me back here. Here I'm doing a quick spot check that all does look correct. It's all in the same format, looks same. Nothing looks different. Mail scan fees, storage fees, pickup fees. See what I mean by slightly variable memos. Cool. And now the next step is to go over to my transaction screen. And now you can see why this is on different tabs, hopefully. Oh, I didn't do the last step, which was Control S one more time before I close it, and then come down here.
Yep.
Go to accounting, go to the OP folder, go to December, and upload the file.
Got it.
I have a new location. And I can do this last part in 1 second. So now I go back over here. And oh shit, the file name.
Oh yeah, we copied the file name, so we can drop it in
Control.
the description.
Yeah, go up there, Control V, get rid of the bold that invariably fucking goes up there.
Nice.
Highlight it. And then go to the transaction 3 on 12/1. If you hit that, it'll open up a little line there. Then you want to find the match. Now I know it says you can categorize by that screen. Do not categorize by that screen. And we'll talk about that in the future. Oh, and you notice how like when I'm sorry, I should have like taken time with that, but do you notice how there's only one item there?
Yeah.
See if I find match. See there in the screen, like if I had done a bunch of entries and then done a bunch of matching, like if I broke it up those 2 steps, I would have a list of transactions here to match it to.
Got it.
Instead of that one transaction, because that's the only thing that was entered that was naked and waiting, right?
Yeah.
So it was easy to pick, and that's why I do those things. Bam, 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 bam. And now I come down here and usually I will, instead of like taking the time to highlight it to the right color, selecting that down and also resizing the row to 21. I'll have like the last one and go like that. Of course, that one didn't need any subtext, so I have to still resize my row. Should good to go.
Perfect.
That's done.
Nice.
And now the next thing that I do is I go over here and I go like that.
Empty the
now
cup.
it's done. And now it's done. And now I go and I do the next one. And now it's 7:02.
Yep. That was super helpful. I feel really clear on all the things and I feel ready to make mistakes and learn and come back so you can make me do it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and can I ask you for things that you are not sure how to enter or which account, instead of like maybe like entering them when you're unsure, maybe like highlight those yellow and then make notes and then we can go through.
Okay.
Sometimes if you feel unsure of like because some things can be kind of like harder to clean up. So
Yeah,
it might be easier to like learn. And also like if you do a bunch of things the wrong way, then you'll like get set in that way. And so then when I'm like, oh, that's not how you do it, you will have gained some like some hand memory. So I would encourage you to kind of like we should set a meeting for sooner than later so that I can check your work before you get into a bad habit.
That makes sense. I support that and definitely understand only doing the things I'm sure of. So I will take notes and highlight things I don't know well. Neil is definitely going to be my partner in crime for this. And I think I'll start after January ends so I can just do all of that together. I think January is going to be a pretty simple month too because we have no artists we're paying out. We're mainly doing some contracting and some regular stuff. So I don't think there'll be over 10 transactions, which will be a great sample size.
Yeah.
So
And we might even be able to like, I mean, we could do a meeting where I don't do it. Like I just watch you enter and give you advice while we do it. So like we could have like a working session where I watch you.
yeah.
And that you kind of do it right the first time and build your procedures that way. So
Okay.
yeah,
I like that. Do you want to set a meeting for February where we try that out and I like training wheels try?
sure.
Okay. Let me,
Check my schedule too, because it could be up there.
yeah,
So that I can. 'Cause I learned best by doing too.
let me.
Yeah.